All right, everybody, we're back. Uh, I'm going to give you my usual spiel. No nets. You're not going to get a edit in this, so what you see is what you get. I'm going to talk about the Banditos. I want to talk about the indictment that came last week. I think it's very important. I think any outlaw motorcycle enthusiast, whether he's a club member or an independent, should take notice of what's going on here. And I have some thoughts I want to share with you, but my lovely wife Beverly is going to read this week's questions. I think we got 3 or 4 questions. So, Beverly, let me have them.
Okay, Mike McGrath writes, so Sonny gave up Irish to the AB in order to survive prison himself. That seems to be the innuendo.
Well, there's a lot of theories, and I'm reluctant to do this, but I am going to say it uh, in my new book, and I'm not trying to sell my book. Last time I mentioned my new book coming out, I got bombarded with, he's trying to sell a product. I don't give a shit if you buy it or not. It's there. It's there because I want to create a historic record. If you guys want to read something, it'll be there. I'm hoping I can get it in every library in the United States, like I did Exile on Front Street. So when people ask me about, well, I can't afford your book, I tell them to go to the library and get it. And that's what I'm going to try to do with this book, Rubicon. So, am I selling my book? No, I'm really creating a historic record. And I think that there's various reasons why this happened to Irish, and there's various reasons why it was handled in the manner in which the way it was. And I think the major concern of Sonny Barger was I don't want to pick a beef with the Aryan Brotherhood. I'm getting ready to go do 5 years. So, that's kind of my answer. But there are some other theories, and I get into stuff. What you guys have to understand is I work as a expert witness for defense, not the prosecution. Don't you naysayers, run to your computers and start writing nasty stuff to me. I work for defense lawyers. I work against the prosecution, not for the prosecution. So I have these ideas when I read this different stuff and I read these different police reports. Over the years, I've got the ability to kind of check them out and create my own ideas of what's going on here. So I guess I'm patting myself on the back now. So I better move on before somebody talks shit.
Okay, from Supercar Specifics, I would love to get your thoughts on Hell's Angel Forever movie.
Well, Hell's Angel Forever movie it's a documentary, but it's a docudrama. And what happened was Sandy Alexander had a bunch of home movies, and he started putting this club movie together, Hell's Angels Forever. And I saw it. I saw the first print. I was a member of the club then, and I got involved with Sandy. Sandy and I became close, and I watched it evolve. And what happened was, Fu Griffin from Oakland came back from prison. Sandy was complaining to him, man, I just can't get this thing right. And Fu Griffin was friends with Timothy Leary from prison. Fu used to protect Timothy Leary when they were in Folsom Prison together. So Fu got an introduction from Timothy Leary to a movie maker called, his name was Richard Chase. And what Richard Chase did was he took a bunch of home movies. That's what this film is based on, home movies. And he put it together, and it's really unique the way he did it. And it stands for itself. It came very close to getting nominated for an Oscar. You know, Richard Chase was involved. Dennis Hopper was involved. I got a funny story. Sometime maybe I'll tell you about that, where they were in a cocaine binge and they were threatening each other with their friendship with me. It's pretty funny. But the movie Hell's Angels Forever is worth the time to check it out. It's a docudrama built on home movies, basically, but it really turned out great. That's my movie recommendation this week.
Okay, Sonny is not even buried in the Oakland Cemetery with a death head engraved in the headstone. What does that say about Sonny?
Well, I think it says there's a lot of unanswered questions, and is Oakland ever going to share that reasoning? No, I don't think so. There's a lot of different. I've heard some excuses. They were pretty lame. One was he wanted to be buried next to his wife for eternity. I don't know about that. I know his wife personally, and I don't know if he'd want to be buried next to her for eternity. But that's my personal jab this week.
Okay, okay.
Let me say something
All
else. Are
right.
you gonna cut me off, or are you gonna?
Well,
My wife, man, she's always on my ass. So, anyways,
you're not going to be buried next to me for eternity.
I'm not. I'm
Not
gonna be
with this
buried on.
kind of
I'm gonna be
attitude.
buried on top of you.
Oh,
Okay, let's get serious now. So, you'd have to ask Oakland why. I got a lot of reasons, and I'm finishing my new book up. I mentioned it earlier, and I'll get bombarded again for crucified for mentioning it. Maybe I'll end the book with my theory. But anyways, move on. Okay, Bev.
Brian M. Thank you, George. I hope you will get into discussing some of your time with Jerry Garcia and your experiences at a Dead concert. Were you at any of the final? Were you at the final Winterland show?
Well, I don't think I was, but I picked Jerry up from the airport and hung out with Jerry, and partied with Jerry, as along with other Dead members, and I'll get into that eventually. But what I'll do is I'll take my time, put together a short video on it. Had some pretty good times with those guys, and uh, you know, miss Jerry a lot. I was in Sturgis when I found out he had passed, and it was tough to swallow. Another death that get close to these people and then suddenly they're gone. It's hard. I mean, everyone's experienced death in their life. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. All right, Bill.
Okay, speculation here, George. Do you think Sonny gave up Irish to smooth his bid and also eliminate someone he'd have to go up against to get back in power once he was released?
Well, we got people wondering about Irish, and that's probably because of the video we did last week. There's a lot of speculation. Irish was partying with these AB guys, and something happened. Irish partied real hard and scared people. He partied so hard that he would scare people, and out of fear, sometimes people react. And I know that they had a problem. They went out back. They were going to snort some drugs and have a drink. They went out back, and the guy stabbed Irish, and Irish's response to him was, "What are you going to do now?" And he pulled his gun out and shot him 4 times. He also shot at Mike Music, who was on the other side of the chain link fence. There's a lot of things that happened real fast. I think that it should have been dealt with differently, and we'll get into that. Maybe I'll do a deeper, in-depth show on that in the future. But I could go on forever about Irish and why it wasn't handled properly. I was guaranteed that the perpetrators of Irish's murder would be handled. And Sonny left for prison. Sonny came back, and they were still alive, both of them. But anyways, that's a whole different story. I'll get into that maybe someday. What I would like to talk about is I want to talk about what happened to the Banditos last week. You have to understand that the government's been putting this plan together, I think, for a decade, maybe a decade and a half, to eliminate the clubs, for clubs to forfeit their logos, their names and their logos. Now, ever since I've been in the club, it started in the 70s. People would go to Germany, and I think the first person I know that went to Germany and had a rough time was Dirty Dick from Purdue. He was a German, but he also had Jewish blood in him, and he had a patch made that had a Jewish star and a swastika in it. And I know he was on the train somewhere in Germany, and he got jacked up by the cops because you're not allowed to have swastikas over there. And I think he might wound up He didn't want to get picked up and kicked out of the country. He wanted to visit the brothers over there. He may have cut it off his patch or put tape over it, but that was the first instance I heard about anything. From there, uh, there were different areas in Germany that the Hells Angels name and logo got banned. And it's very convoluted and complicated. Ultimately, to support the Germans in the mid 90s, late 90s, we voted as a club to eliminate all swastikas, anything that had to do with World War II. You know, that included SS bolts. I know a lot of the guys in the club had SS bolts on their tanks and oil tanks and whatnot. And we voted to support the German brothers by removing that stuff internationally off our things. And we did. So it's been going on a while, but I'm leading up to something here. And in Laughlin, there was a shootout in 2002. And I was working on that case. This is when Agent Jay Dobbins infiltrated, and there was a lot of things getting put out, a lot of things getting held back. And as I studied things, I came up with this thought, and I went to the lawyers. I think Chesnoff, and I can't remember who else was on that case. But I said, "Look, I've got an idea here." I said, "I don't think they're going after the membership." I said, "I think they're going to go after the logo. They're going to go after the name and the logo." And some of the lawyers thought I was crazy. Some of the lawyers thought, "Wow, you're way ahead of the curve, George." But several years later, the Mongols got indicted in the late 2000s, 2008, 9, 10, I don't remember when. And they were ordered by a federal jury to turn over their Mongols' name and logo. They were told to forfeit their logo and trademarks. The jury found that there was a connection in the club's crimes, which included murder, drug dealing, attempted murder. But a federal court said that that forfeiture was unconstitutional, and they were awarded it back. So that was a real good stab at it, and they did get some traction under them. The Danish government right now wants to outlaw the banditos in Denmark. And they have a court order. They said the group's activities imposes a threat to society and to the citizens' safety. And they cite 12 to 10 violent conflicts that the banditos have been involved in over there. Now, last week, a press release was put out. I'm going to defer to the press release. You guys can see it here. You can go on the government thing and you can get these press releases. And this was a press release. 14 members of the Banditos motorcycle, this is not me saying this is the press release, motorcycle gang indicted for offenses including racketeering, assault, and murder. I think this is very telling. They use the term gang in the press release, and I think that's to garner some attention from the public. And then they go in, and I want you to read the press release carefully, because these press releases and these indictments, they're like a speaking indictment. They tell a story. And if you pay attention to what's in the indictment, you kind of get an idea from where they're going. So they indicted 14 banditos. Read the release carefully. Transnational crimes, including Mexico. They talk about the crimes that are transnational. Those are crimes that cross borders. And they mention Mexico. Now, the new administrations have been talking about going after the cartels. And I think there's a specific reason they mention Mexico in this indictment. They also say that the banditos identify themselves as an outlaw organization. They use the term self-identifying. And I think that's very telling, because the top of the press release says gang, and then they get into Mexico, transnational crimes. the Banditos identify themselves as an outlaw organization, and I use the term organization now because I think what they're doing is they're going to try to show the sophistication. They're saying they use the term gang. They end the press release by calling the the Banditos. They identified the motorcycle organization, and I think they use the term organization because they want them to appear more sophisticated, if you will. And I think this is the writing on the wall. And I think that, whether you're an independent club members, you know, got to get it together, man. And everybody's going to be affected by this. I don't want to see the Banditos. I don't want to see the Outlaws, the Hells Angels, the Pagans, the Mongols. I don't want to see anybody lose their club logos and the right to have them. I mean, that's just part of what this country is all about. And I think we're heading to a big battle in the future. I don't think it's going to. I might even be alive when it takes place. But you know, I first had this inclination in 2002 that this is what was going to be happening. It's now 25 years later, 24 years later, and this stuff is starting to come to fruition. So we need to get it together. A lot of you can say, hey, man, you're not even in a club anymore. Well, you know what? Maybe I should think about starting another club. Anyways, this is serious, and sometimes I seem cavalier when I do these things, but there's nothing cavalier about this. This is a very serious situation. When they put out these press releases, when the government puts out the press releases and they hand out these indictments, read them very carefully because they're very telling and they tell a story. And I think the story here is the writing's on the wall. They're going to come after everybody's patch at some point in time and make it illegal to be an outlaw club member. So whether you're independent or a club member, it can affect us all. So that's all I got to say. I've probably been rambling a little bit, but I get passionate about this stuff. So I will see you again in the future. Maybe we'll have another Speak of the Devil come up. Seems to be catching on a little bit, getting a lot of views and interest in it. So stay with me. Please subscribe and check out the video. Try to do a couple a week. So I'll see you, everybody. Thanks for all the support, and talk to you soon.